Good afternoon on this Thursday of the fifth week of Lent. It's Father Jonathan coming to you again, and we're getting very, very close to Holy Week and the Passion and Resurrection of our Lord, and I hope we're preparing our hearts for this time. But today I'd like to address our youth, specifically, if I may. Mrs. Weekland, the principal at Our Lady of Victory, said that some parents had emailed her asking if it was possible for us to send a YouTube video out directly to our youth on our channel here. And I think that's a great idea, and I'm sorry that we haven't done that yet. But I'll try to do that today, and I'll also say that I'm not sure exactly what to say to you because I don't know exactly what you're going through, but I'll do my best, and I hope that our youth are listening. The first thing I'd like to say is that in this time where so much has been taken away from you, you have a right to be upset, you have a right to be frustrated, and you have a right to a little bit of, dare I even say, anger. We hear the news, and there's this sort of picture painted of these levels of people that are most affected by this coronavirus, and it sort of starts with the frontline responders, the nurses, doctors, and EMTs, and things like that, specifically in New York, and rightfully so. I can't imagine some of the misery that they're experiencing right now. So our hearts and prayers go out to them. And then sort of, it seems somewhere underneath them, there's the most vulnerable, the elderly, maybe even the marginalized, those who are more likely to be affected by this disease. And then the picture goes on, and somewhere some of our youth might feel like they're sort of lost in translation. And listen, we're being affected by this too, right? This is tough on us too. We've had a lot of things taken away from us too. And my whole point is you have a right to own that. You have a right to say, you know what, this isn't fair. You have a right to say, I had so many things planned for this spring. Some of you are graduating, and this spring was supposed to be one of the great springs of your life. Proms and graduations and things like that are being pushed back, maybe postponed, or hopefully not canceled. Sports teams are not meeting, travel teams are being canceled, classes and academic projects, for those of you that are more into academics, hopefully it's all of you, all these things have been taken away from you, and in that, so is the opportunity to come together and hang out with your friends. And I know that you can do it via Zoom and FaceTime and all that stuff, but let's face it, it's not the same. So you have a right to say, you know what, this isn't fair. Why would God have me in this specific time during these situations? Why couldn't this have been last year or something like that? And these are some important questions. And I'd like to suggest that you contemplate a moment the words that come out of the mouth of Jesus from the cross at the very end of this coming Sunday's gospel. He says, my God, why have you abandoned me? And some Eastern rites during their liturgy, the translation is, my God, why have you left me behind? And if Jesus can ask this question, then you can ask this question as well. My God, why have you left me behind? Or maybe I could translate in these times by saying, my God, why have you left me in these circumstances? I'm not going to try and explain the problem of evil and why these circumstances existed, but I am going to pose a question, or ask you to pose a question, why? And then to seek that answer in a very deep and powerful way. That God has you at your age, alive at your age, in this time, for a very specific reason and a very specific purpose. It may not be how you planned it, it may not be how you saw it, but He needs you right in the midst of the times that we're in, and He is depending on you. And by the way, the church is depending on you to be a light and a beacon of hope to those around you, because you are absolutely essential to the church now, and maybe even more so as we move into the future and continue to go out and attempt to spread the good news of Jesus Christ. And so I'd like to just briefly, if I could, read a reflection that might help you see your mission in these times. And hopefully it applies to you. You've probably heard this if you've been to weddings. This is a very common reading at weddings. But it's Paul's letter to Corinthians, and I'm taking it a little bit out of context. But Paul is addressing a community in the Corinthians that's divided, that has a lot of dissension in it, a lot of moral issues, and because of that is very fragmented. And I mean, this isn't specifically our communities. We are living in some fragmented times, and in this there's a call to the courage to love, I would say. And he writes, love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous. Love is not boastful. It is not arrogant or rude. Love does not insist on its own way. It insists on God's way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrong, but rejoices in the right. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. And so as you're trying to figure out how you're supposed to respond to these times and why these times aren't fair, while also figuring out that you have a mission in these times, I hope that you recognize that your mission is rooted in a love that seeks something beyond yourself, that seeks those around you, that longs to bring light and hope to those around you, because I guarantee people are going to start turning to our young, looking to draw hope from them as they see them as our future. Because everybody's thinking about the future in one way or another during these times, what the future is going to look like. And if you're the image of the future, you have a great responsibility and a great opportunity in front of you. So you can enter these times just throwing your hands up and saying, this stinks, and this isn't fair, and I'm just going to give up until the dust follows. Or you can have the courage to challenge yourselves to seek opportunities to love and to be of service, even in the little circles of isolation that you're in. Love bears all things. Do you have the courage to bear through this difficult situation so that you can grow in a powerful way that brings you out on the other end even more alive than before you came in? Love believes all things. Do you believe that God, that Jesus Christ, is seeing us through these times, and are you willing to be a witness to that belief, to that message? And love endures all things. Do you have the courage to not just stand by and passively wait as we get through this pandemic, but to seek to endure this pandemic as a sign of hope to those around you? When you begin to see the world, and even these times, through the eyes of love and through the eyes of a Jesus Christ who even called out, "Why have you abandoned me?" then you'll get to understand that you have a very specific mission in these times, that God has put you in these times for a reason, and that he very, very, very much needs you. What a tremendous responsibility, but what a tremendous opportunity to show love, courage, hope, and faith to those around you in the midst of these times. Because you will see through these times, and when you come out on the other end, you'll experience life in an even more powerful way. Take this opportunity, take this mission seriously, and I promise you will not be disappointed. May God's love be with you always, and I look forward to talking to you very soon.